Lord forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack make it backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the vital speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
Name Young Pappy.
Young Pappy.
And his real name is Shaquon Thomas. I don't know if you ever heard of this. Said that so this algorithm would look at whether you've been arrested, for a gun violation, or whether you've been arrested for a violent crime, whether you're affiliated with a gang.
Okay.
Stuff like that, and whether you've been arrested with people who have been shot before. And so it's basically who you're associated with that puts you at risk to becoming a victim, or possibly increasing the chances that you may retaliate and inflict harm on someone else. So Shaquon Thomas had a score of 500, which is the highest score you can get.
Y'all got L's in here? Y'all ain't got L's?
L's?
Yeah. Nah. No L's. That's because they ass not out here.
They not out here.
Old time, we talk about swishers. He think we talking about them niggas. Who? Hell no! They down here, so y'all better put that motherfucking call in here. Because we not even finna go nowhere. He said, no, this is my mom. He don't care about the L's. You heard him.
Fuck the L's.
Alright, he ain't on nothing. He ain't on nothing. And I can merch it. That go one of the L's right there. Down there. Come here, shorty. Come here, shorty. It's Pappy. It's Pappy. It's Pappy. Bring that ass here. Bring that ass here. On this ass, folks. 2 cups.
But all things considered, because of Shaquon Thomas's criminal past, he scored a 500, and the police had basically, before the police one day, I guess, had warned him, that he lives a risky lifestyle on the streets, and that if he doesn't change his life, I don't know exactly what they said to him, but the purpose of this visit was to tell him that, if you don't change your life, then you could become a victim, of violence. Because he was basically an intended target in 2 or 3 shootings before he was finally murdered a couple of years ago. And the thing about it is that a week before he was murdered, he made a rap video where he was taunting some rivals. And I remember, I don't remember the lyrics exactly, but I remember in one of his songs, he made mention of a murder that happened in Chicago, but on the border of Chicago and Evanston, which is the suburb immediately to the north of a rival, basically.
By all accounts, things look like they started to get wild for Young Pappy in 2014. Him and a friend, Markeo Carr, were coming out of a McDonald's with several other people when a gunman opened fire on them, killing Markeo Carr. Then on July 12th, right when the weather started heating up, this happened.
Gang-related gunfire claims the life of an innocent Wisconsin man. His family is calling for an end to the senseless killings happening to our South. Good evening. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Raised in Wisconsin, 28-year-old Will Lewis was shot and killed Saturday in broad daylight, standing at a Chicago area bus stop. Police say 31-year-old Eric Vaughn drove that getaway car and handed over the weapon. Vaughn is still in custody tonight, but the suspected teenage gunman is not.
And new at 10, the 19th Danica Lewis sits down with the family and has their message.
And Eric, Will Lewis and his wife had just moved to Chicago to start new jobs and soon a family of their own. Instead, his family spent the day planning his funeral. Will, one of 3 killed around the Windy City over the weekend.
It really doesn't feel real at all right now.
Regina Coble was setting up her son's birthday party when she heard her brother-in-law, Will Lewis, was killed, only 28 years old.
You have to almost take a piece of yourself and just put it aside just so you can survive. We are in pure survival mode to get through this.
For Coble, no one could compare to Will's creativity. Adopted from Guatemala, Will's first present was a camera, and he's been behind one ever since. Will just moved out of Wisconsin and got a full-time photography job. He and his wife would celebrate their 2-year anniversary next month, ready to have kids and settle down outside of Chicago.
It's a senseless act of violence. Will's not the only one that dies.
Saturday afternoon, Will was shot dead, prosecutors say, by gang members.
There's no magic piece of legislation that's going to make it go away. It has to be a personal choice. People have to wake up and decide, we're not going to live this way anymore. This is not okay. And only then, you know, by the grace of God, are we going to be able to change it.
This man, Eric Vaughn, was arrested, but police think someone else, perhaps a teenager, pulled the trigger.
It doesn't bring Will back. It doesn't lessen the pain or the anger. And ultimately, God will be his judge, and it's not up to us.
Justice aside, photos and dancing will keep Will's spirit alive as Coble tries to make any sense of a senseless act that left her kids without their favorite uncle.
You know, the saddest thing is she'll never know him, and and even my 5-year-old, I mean, he'll remember him, but you know how that's gonna fade eventually. One day, you really just can't comprehend it.
Now, the family would love to start a scholarship fund in Will's name. For now, people can donate to a memorial fund in his honor. That link is up on our Channel 3000 Facebook page. Donations will help the family cover the funeral costs.
Such a tragedy. Danica Lewis reporting. Danica, thank
Well, how 2014 went for Young Pappy, you know 2015 was going to go all the way up. With his status rising as a rapper, he gained a lot of attention from not only fans, but police. And shit hit the fan during one of his mixtape release parties.
Anthony and Michelle, it was a tense 5-hour standoff, but it has come to a peaceful resolution. This was kind of a strange situation. More than 25 people who were barricaded with a gunman are now in custody being questioned. Now, police are not calling them hostages, but they did remain holed up with an armed man who opened fire on officers at about 1:30 this morning. It happened when police arrived in the 6300 block of Lakewood in response to noise complaints. Officers say someone at a party on the second floor fired shots at their patrol car. The remaining residents of the building were escorted out during a frightening evacuation. Authorities finally stormed the apartment at about 6:30 and arrested everyone involved in the barricade. The gunman is expected to be charged. It's unknown if anyone else will also face charges. The entire group was taken to the 24th District Police Headquarters at Clark and Devon as police are just still sorting this whole thing out.
The thing about bullets is you could only duck them for so long before you get hit. And on June 24th, 2016, they caught up with Young Pappy. It was said that he was hit twice in the back right around 1:30 on a Friday.
A week after posting a video online in which he makes fun of a rival gang. WGN's Patrick Elwoods at Area North Police Headquarters joins us live with more on the murder of a rapper known as Young Pappy. Patrick.
Hey, Tom, as you mentioned, he was a young rapper, local rapper who glorified gun violence and gang life, and now he's dead. As you're about to hear, some people say that was inevitable, but it was the innocent bystanders who lost their lives because of the way that Young Pappy lived. He was gunned down on a sidewalk in the 4800 block of North Kenmore in the Uptown neighborhood early this morning. Police say he was shot twice in the back. Thomas was with a friend when a gunman walked up and started shooting. He died a short time later at Advocate, Illinois Masonic Medical Center. Police say he was a known gang member. This gentleman who lives nearby isn't shocked by the news and says oftentimes police can't stop the gun violence. Only a higher power can do that.
His name Patrick. Came from my grandma, really. She gave it to me when I was a baby. She gave me that name because it sounded like my daddy. She named all of us. She gave all my brothers and sisters our nicknames. We just ran with uptown, man. Going to Winco, north side of Chicago. PBG, all that is.
And y'all think they just started using AI just now. In 2014, after 2 failed assassination attempts, with the use of AI, the Chicago Police Department would pretty much predict Young Pappy's death and go on to warn him before he was fatally shot on May 29, 2015. Yo, we back. The Shades Popalot. Salute the almighty MOBB. We on our way to the Chi with it. I know we spent a lot of time on the south side, but we headed to the north for this one. Y'all meet us in Rogers Park. Now, back in the early 2010s, when Chicago rappers was popping off left and right, one of the brightest stars out the bunch was Shaquon Thomas, or Lil Pappy, right around the time when Chief Keef would release Don't Like and make Chicago a hotbed of future industry talent. Young Pappy would have already been in motion, allegedly rapping since the age of 12. He would release his debut mixtape, 2 Cups Part 1, in 2011. But it would be his second mixtape, 2 Cups Part 2, that would be released in 2013, that would be his most popular work to date. It was rumblings back then, but I'm sure it's going to even be some people in the comments that would say how Young Pappy was even better than guys like Chief Keef, who would have epic success and go on to be pretty much the face of Chicago drill. And if that might sound crazy to you, go back and listen to Chief Keef's version of Finito, and then go listen to Lil Pappy's version before you leave your comment. Now, back in the early to mid 2010s, when guys like Young Pappy and Chief Keef were trying to make a name for themselves on the drill scene, Chicago was one of the most dangerous places on earth and pretty much going through a crime epidemic. And the police, needing all the help that they can get still to this day, will begin to rely on a tool known as predictive policing. Now, I know AI is becoming very popular now, but I don't know if you guys ever heard the saying that if you see something crazy in the technological world, like the shit that was in Enemy of the State with Will Smith, years and years back, the government and the supposed people on top of us been using it for 20 years. And it's no difference with AI or predictive policing, which is, to make a long story short, a tool that the Chicago Police Department's been using since 2012, which is pretty much a statistical model to predict the likelihood of somebody becoming a PTV or a party to violence. It will be using this system that the Chicago police will go on to give Young Pappy a perfect 500 score. Young Pappy, who is a member of a gangster disciple set known as PBG, who some people might know from the upcoming rapper PBG Nuke, but he would earn that perfect 500 ranking from a situation that arose from him being shot in February 2014 outside of a McDonald's, an incident where one of his friends, a guy by the name of Mikhail Carr, would end up being killed. And again, on that same year, in July of 2014, he would again be targeted for assassination, and somebody that was allegedly shooting a video for him would end up being murdered. And like I said, he would end up being fatally shot on May 29, 2015, walking down the 4800 block of North Kenmore Avenue. And almost the most tragic part about his death, it happened just as the drill scene was rising. It didn't even reach its heights yet. So it's different than the death of somebody like King Von, who we've seen rise to certain heights. But with guys like Young Pappy and L.A. Capone, there's no telling, literally, how big they could have been. With Young Pappy being gone almost 8 years now, there's probably some people that never even heard his music. But I know it's some of y'all that was tuned into that time. Now, y'all drop what y'all think is his best song in the comment box. And I'm going to be the first one to say Finito. Y'all make sure y'all hit the red bell and subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real trail spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box below. Y'all run it up. Y'all let me know what cities we need to go to, what stories we need to tell, what we missed, what we got wrong, all of that. Y'all tapping with me directly on Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. And until the next time, y'all know the verdict. Shades Popalot. Salute the almighty MOBB.